This is the forest primeval, the murmuring pines and the hemlocks bearded with moss and in garments green, indistinct in the twilight, stand like druids of eld with voices sad and prophetic, stand like harpers hoar with beards that rest on their bosoms. Loud from its rocky caverns, the deep-voiced neighboring ocean speaks, and in accents disconsolate answers the wail of the forest. This is the forest primeval, but where are the hearts that beneath it leap like the rogue when he hears in the woodland the voice of the huntsman? Where is the thatch roof village, the home of Acadian farmers, men whose lives glided on like rivers that water the woodlands, darkened by shadows of earth, but reflecting an image of heaven? Waste are those pleasant farms, and the farmers forever departed, scattered like dust and leaves when the mighty blasts of October seize them and whirl them aloft and sprinkle them far o'er the ocean. Naught but tradition remains of the beautiful village of Grand Prix. Ye who believe in affection that hopes and endures and is patient, ye who believe in the beauty and strength of woman's devotion, list to the mournful tradition still sung by the pines of the forest. List to a tale of love in Acadie, home of the happy. Part the first. In the Acadian land, on the shores of the basin of Minas, distant, secluded, still, the little village of Grand Prix lay in the fruitful valley. Vast meadows stretched to the eastward, giving the village its name and pasture to flocks without number. Dikes that the hands of the farmers had raised with labor incessant shut out the turbulent tides, but at stated seasons the floodgates opened and welcomed the sea to wander at will o'er the meadows. West and south there were fields of flax and orchards and cornfields spreading afar and unfenced o'er the plain. And away to the northward Blomidon rose, and the forests old, and aloft on the mountains sea fogs pitched their tents, and mists from the mighty Atlantic looked on the happy valley, but ne'er from their station descended. There, in the midst of its farms, reposed the Acadian village. Strongly built were the houses, with frames of oak and of hemlock, such as the peasants of Normandy built in the reign of the Henrys. Thatched were the roofs with dormer windows, and gables projecting over the basement below protected and shaded the doorway. There, in the tranquil evenings of summer, when brightly the sunset lighted the village street and gilded the vanes of the chimneys, matrons and maidens sat in snow-white caps and in kirtles scarlet and blue and green, with distaffs spinning the golden flax for the gossiping looms, whose noisy shuttles within doors mingled their sounds with the whir of the wheels and the songs of the maidens. Solemnly down the street came the parish priest, and the children paused in their play to kiss the hand he extended to bless them. Reverent walked he among them, and up rose matrons and maidens, hailing his slow approach with words of affectionate welcome. Then came the laborers home from the field, and serenely the sun sank down to his rest, and twilight prevailed. Anon from the belfry, softly the Angelus sounded, and over the roofs of the village, columns of pale blue smoke, like clouds of incense ascending, rose from 100 hearths, the homes of peace and contentment. Thus dwelt together in love these simple Acadian farmers. Dwelt in the love of God and of man. Alike were they free from fear that reigns with the tyrant, and envy, the vice of republics. Neither had they locks to their doors nor bars to their windows, but their dwellings were open as day and the hearts of their owners. There, the richest was poor and the poorest lived in abundance. Somewhat apart from the village, and nearer the basin of Minas, Benedict Bellefontaine, the wealthiest farmer of Grand Prix, dwelt on his goodly acres, and with him, directing his household, gentle Evangeline lived, his child and the pride of the village. Stalwart and stately in form was the man of 70 winters. Hardy in hail was he, an oak that is covered in snowflakes. White as the snow were his locks, and his cheeks as brown as the oak leaves. Fair was she to behold, that maiden of 17 summers. Black were her eyes as the berries that grow on the thorn by the wayside. Black, yet how softly they gleamed underneath the brown shade of her tresses. Sweet was her breath, as the breath of kine that feed in the meadows. When, in the harvest heat, she bore to the reapers at noontide flagons of home-brewed ale. Ah, fair in sooth was the maiden. Fairer was she when on Sunday morn, while the bell from its turret sprinkled with holy sounds the air, as the priest with his hyssop sprinkles the congregation and scatters blessings upon them. Okay, I think that's as far as I got this week. I decided to just launch in and do it straight to the I did straight to the camera. It was very unnerving. Because I can also I rock with the rhythm, right? Like I do the dactyls with my body, which is funny because when I'm trying to in rhythm, there are some people who can pound out or can dance. That doesn't help me in rhythm at all. I can do that as much as I want, and I will not have the rhythm in me in a way that I can write it out. But when I'm reading the rhythm, I do, and sometimes when I'm checking rhythm on a poem, I will, do a little, I guess if I had a puppet, they would call it the Henson punch, like the, okay. My husband's really getting into puppets right now, so I'm learning lots and lots about puppetry. So that's to say that what I'm watching, so as opposed to having my eyes closed or sort of looking off, I'm more aware because I can see in the camera, I can see myself rocking, and then that throws me off. I'm also still, it is hard to keep focus because my brain, like part of my brain is trying to recite, part of my brain is remembering like the parts down the road that I need to do. And then part of my brain is like having this completely other conversation, right? Like, what are you doing? You can't do this. And also you need to move the laundry around, right? So there's like all this going on, trying to like keep my brain like, focus in. So, I made it through though. Not too many wobbles, I don't think. I could feel, so I'm now to the point where it's so long that I can't, I was reciting the poem every day in its entire, like not in its, I was reciting everything I had memorized to that point every day. Like once a night I would go through everything. And I'm to the point now where that's become cumbersome. And so I'm trying like every other day to do it all, or every third day, and focusing just on, what's the new part, what's the part right before the new part, just because I got other stuff to do, right? I have a job, and on top of my job, I also write poems and garden and do all these other things. So, and I don't ever want this to become a taxing thing. I want this to be always fun. I want it to be something fun that I'm doing. And so that's how I'm breaking it up, to help myself with that process. A couple things coming up that may affect my ability to memorize things. One, it's already starting to happen in the poem. Longfellow sometimes, he inverts his grammar to make it fit the rhythm and things like that. And that makes it harder to memorize. There was a lot in this particular section for today that he did that. And I was like, what are you doing? You're killing me, Longfellow. You're killing me. But managed through it. But he does get into that a bit coming up. And so we'll see how it goes. I will do my best. And if it's smaller sections, it's smaller sections. It'll be what it is. This process will take me a long time. So thank you for stopping in and for continuing on with me in this journey. I appreciate it. It will be a long journey, I think, hopefully, as long as I can keep up with it and don't start to feel too much tension or stress about it. And I'll keep doing it. Other things that may affect my ability to memorize things is that coming up in the month of September, I'm taking part in Tupelo Press's 30/30 project, which is where I've committed to write a poem a day during the month of September, and it will be up on Tupelo has a special website for their 30/30 poems. They'll be up each day, so you can go and read my work. I'm writing poems for Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month. I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer in 2019 and went through chemo that summer. And so I'm doing a poem each day that is about a woman who has had ovarian cancer. I have special parameters set for myself. I'm doing 10 minutes. I'm allowed 10 minutes of research on the woman, 10 minutes of enrhythming before I write, and then 10 minutes of writing. Otherwise, it will take up, right? I know myself. I will obsess and it will take a lot of time. So I've set those parameters to keep myself kind of sane and balanced in that respect. So that may affect my ability to memorize. I'm thinking I might just decide all the poems are going to be in dactyls, and that way I can use Evangeline as the enrhythming, and in that way continue with the memorization. I'm not sure how well that's going to work. We'll see how that goes. Other things that may affect my memorization coming up, there is right now a tropical depression that may become a tropical storm, which may become a hurricane, which may hit my area. All of those things are very uncertain at this point. They won't know till probably tomorrow, more so. They'll have a better sense. And if that happens and shit goes down here, Evangeline's going to take a back seat. So we will see how that goes. Yeah. I think I did pretty good keeping my shoulders loose. I had a few moments I could feel myself getting tense, but I think I did an okay job keeping them loose. I know a few folks who follow me on YouTube. I don't know if they've made it to this point in the video or not, but I know that they are also working on memorizing their own work, like work that they have written, as well as I know some folks who are memorizing some stuff that other folks have written. And so that's exciting. And if you are one of those folks and you're watching this, feel free to put down in the comments links about where people can find the memorization work that you're doing, or just anything you want to say about the process of memorization that you think would be fun for people to know. I will also if you take part in the Meter Magic Spiral through the Poetry Witch community, I will also be leading a section on the second Wednesday of every month that will focus on memorization and performance of poetry. And at least the first one, so the one during September, I'm going to be talking about doing a little section about just general memorization technique and tricks. I used to teach a class on study skills at Ohio University. It was great fun. And got to talk a lot about things I love, which is weird, like studying. I'm very good at studying, not necessarily doing anything with the information that I get into my brain. But I'm great at studying. And so I'm going to pull out some of that information to let folks know about that. So if you are in Meter Magic Spiral, or you've been thinking about joining Meter Magic Spiral and you're interested, second Wednesday of the month of September, I will be doing an online session doing a memorization and performance circle for folks. Yeah, so since I had been thinking about the 30-30 project and now talking about memorization, that reminds me, that was one of the things that going through chemo, I was really worried about. I had always had a super strong memory, and just a brain that worked like lightning. Even though it was sort of buried down under the CPTSD, it still was, could go pretty fast, little hamster wheel. And during chemo, I felt that go completely away. And I was really worried that I was never going to be able to memorize anything ever again. Yeah, like I was pretty worried about it. And even embarking on this project with Evangeline, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. But it's working okay. And so I'm glad. I may forget why I go into a room sometimes, but I've got Evangeline in there, so that's something, right? Yes. Excellent. Thank you for listening today, and thank you for stopping by. Feel free to like and subscribe if you want to get notified when I have new Evangeline videos up, or also videos that I'm doing where I'm reading my own work. Got a few videos that'll be up as I'm going through the 30-30 process as well. Thanks for stopping by.